He agreed to watch this 18-pound Maine Coon for 3 weeks. 16 months later, the cat was still there, and a camera set up on a Thursday night finally showed him what had been happening at 1:52 every single morning without fail. He had slept through all of it, every single night. Daniel Mercer was 58 years old, a retired high school history teacher who had spent 34 years explaining to teenagers why the past mattered and who had spent the last 2 years failing to apply that lesson to himself. He lived alone in a 4-bedroom house in Asheville, North Carolina, in rooms that had been full for a long time and were now not. His wife Ruth had died 26 months ago. His daughter lived in Portland. His dog, a 14-year-old golden retriever named Sam, had followed Ruth by 8 months, which Daniel privately felt was the dog's way of choosing sides. He had decided he was done with pets. That was the word he used. Done. Too much attachment, too much grief at the end of it, too much of a specific kind of quiet that arrives when something that needed you stops needing you. He told his daughter this clearly in December. She said she understood. In March, she knocked on his door with a cat carrier and a work trip starting the following morning. The cat's name was Ghost. He was 18 pounds of dark tabby Maine Coon, black and brown and deep gray layered through long fur that moved like smoke when he walked, green eyes that caught light at angles that seemed unlikely, a tail like a feather duster operated by someone with strong opinions. His previous owner had moved into assisted living and could not take him. He had spent 19 days at the animal shelter before Daniel's daughter pulled him as a foster. She was supposed to find him a forever home. She had not gotten around to it. She was leaving the country for 3 weeks and needed somewhere for Ghost to stay. Daniel said 3 weeks. His daughter said thank you and was gone before he could add conditions. The first 3 days, Ghost sat on the windowsill in the living room and looked at the street with the focused attention of someone running surveillance. He ate without comment. He used the litter box without incident. He did not approach Daniel, and Daniel did not approach him. It was, Daniel thought, a reasonable arrangement between two beings who had not asked to share a space and were managing accordingly. On the 4th night, Daniel woke at 2:09 a.m. the way he had been waking at 2:09 a.m. for the better part of 2 years. He went to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and sat at the table. Ghost was already there, sitting on the chair across from him, watching him with the polite interest of someone waiting for a meeting to begin. Daniel looked at him, Ghost looked back. Neither of them said anything, which Daniel found oddly appropriate. He went back to bed at 2:44 a.m. Ghost followed him down the hall, jumped onto the bed, and settled at the foot of it. Daniel did not move him. He was too tired to negotiate. Within 10 days, Ghost had made several decisions about the household that Daniel had not been consulted on. The armchair by the window was Ghost's. The left side of the bed was Ghost's. The blanket Daniel's daughter had left on the couch was Ghost's. Daniel retained use of the kitchen, the bathroom, and approximately a third of the couch, which he considered an acceptable outcome given that he had not agreed to any of this in the first place. His daughter called at the end of week 2 to say the trip had been extended. Daniel said he understood. Ghost was on the armchair behind him, watching the call with the expression of someone who had anticipated exactly this. The 3-week arrangement became 6 weeks, then 10. Daniel took Ghost to the vet for his annual checkup in April, the first veterinary care visit Ghost had received since leaving the shelter. The vet confirmed good cat health across the board, estimated his age at 5, and noted during the exam that Maine Coons were known for their attentiveness to their owners. Daniel said he was not Ghost's owner. The vet looked at Ghost, who was sitting in Daniel's lap with the settled confidence of a cat who had already made a long-term decision, and did not respond. You're still watching and haven't subscribed yet? That honestly stings a little. Hit subscribe. You'll want to hear what happens next. Somewhere around week 8, Daniel noticed something. He was not waking at 2:09 a.m. He could not identify the exact night it had stopped. He had simply woken one Tuesday at 6:15 and realized he had slept straight through, which had not happened reliably since Ruth died. He mentioned it at a routine checkup. His doctor asked what had changed. Daniel said he wasn't certain. He thought it might be the cat. His doctor smiled and said companion animals were worth looking into. His daughter suggested a camera. She sent one in the mail without waiting for an answer. Daniel installed it on a Thursday evening, aimed it at the bedroom, and checked the footage Saturday morning. At 1:52 a.m., Ghost lifted his head from the foot of the bed. He looked at Daniel for 4 seconds. Then he stood, stretched slowly and deliberately, and walked the full length of the mattress. He pressed himself against Daniel's back, his chin resting near Daniel's shoulder, his eyes open and scanning the room. The door, the window, the door again. 19 minutes later, he walked back to the foot of the bed, turned once, and lay down. Daniel scrolled back through the footage. Friday night, 1:49 a.m. Thursday, 1:54 a.m. He went back 2 full weeks as far as the camera storage would allow. Every single night without exception, always within 6 minutes of 1:52. Always the same route, the same position against Daniel's back, the same 19 minutes of quiet and steady attention before returning to his spot. Ghost had been doing this since the 2nd week. Daniel had slept through every single night of it without knowing. He sat at the kitchen table with his coffee going cold and watched the footage a 4th time. Then he looked at Ghost, who was on the windowsill monitoring the street with his usual focused calm, doing what he did when he was not needed elsewhere. Ghost arrived as a 3-week favor. He had decided, apparently on the 4th night, that the arrangement needed adjustment. He had not mentioned it, he had not asked for acknowledgement, he had simply begun showing up at 1:52 a.m. and watching until he was satisfied and returning to his spot. Every single night, like a shift that required no approval and had no scheduled end. Daniel's daughter called that afternoon. The trip was extending again. Daniel told her not to worry about Ghost. He said Ghost had settled things on his own. She asked what that meant. Daniel said it meant Ghost had made a decision about his living situation and Daniel had decided not to contest it. She said, "That sounds like a forever home, Dad." Daniel said he supposed it did. Today, Ghost is 6. He still arrives at 1:52 every morning. He still owns the armchair, the left side of the bed, and the blanket that was never Daniel's to begin with. The animal shelter that had listed him for rescue cat adoption for 19 days would not recognize him now. Not the weight of him settled into this house. Not the way he sits in the window each morning as though he has been here longer than the furniture. He came for 3 weeks and quietly fixed something that 2 years and a doctor's advice and a weighted blanket and white noise had not touched. He did it without being asked, without being thanked, and without ever indicating he expected anything in return. That is either a heartwarming story about an incredible bond or simply a very old understanding between 2 creatures who needed the same thing at exactly the same time. Daniel still watches the footage sometimes, not because he worries, because he needs the reminder that some arrivals don't announce themselves. Some of them just show up on a Tuesday in March and sit across from you at the kitchen table at 2:09 in the morning and wait with complete patience for you to figure out that you needed them. Ghost already knew. He was just patient enough to let Daniel catch up. Would you have sent him to another home, or would you have kept him? Tell me in the comments.